Hello and welcome everybody, I am your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and today I am streaming Maverick Hunter X for the PlayStation Portable. How's everybody doing today? How's the audio looking? Hello Skylar! Hello Sylveon! Hey? Not a charge shot, exactly. How are we doing today? I'm doing fine myself. I do have a majority of them. Legacy Collection plus emulators. I actually own physical copies for most of these, Sylveon. Believe it or not, I actually own physical copies for nearly every single game that I've been playing on this channel. The only things I don't are, like, the Wonder Swan. But the Legacy Collection is a majority of how I play these. We're going to do a new game here. Ignore the title screen, I've just beaten it once. So, in this game, this is a remake of MegaManX 1, and we'll get into details of why they remade X1 later. But all you need to know is that first, you only have X unlocked, and once you beat the game, you get Vile. We will not be doing a Vile run this time around, but we will actually be doing X, and we'll be doing it on the normal mode. There are a lot of changes here, just minor. This is probably my favorite way to experience MegaManX 1. Whereas Casey, she is at work right now. Sadly, she has to work till 6, 5-ish, 6-ish, so she ended up having to miss today. But it's alright, because she's going to be in tomorrow's upload, so don't be worried. How to be based, be like Vile. That's a feeling. Yeah, no, as far as games in this series go, I actually own all of them, and Maverick Hunter X was one of those games that I went on a manhunt for. I needed to play this game. I was not about to skip this and miss this. This game has since had a bit of discussion about it, especially seeing as most of this came with an OVA called The Day of Sigma. This is meant to be a reboot of the first 3 X games, however, they never made it that far into development because it was on the PSP. This was what got made instead of an X9 at the time, because Keiji Inafune wanted the team to know, to basically learn what it was like to make the first X game and learn how to make games better going beyond X8. Because X8 was good, but they felt the team didn't really get the soul of the series yet. And while this captured that soul, since it was on the PSP, nobody really played it. So this is one that I would love to see ported to like PlayStation 4 and 5 with the PSP emulator they have on there. Especially because it's rather well emulated, minus some transparency effects, as you'll see. I do have a PSP capture device, however, I'm using an emulator for the cleaner models here. So, do bear with any weird graphical glitches. I promise you they don't happen in the PSP version. So, right off the bat, we don't have a dash. We've got R and L to switch weapons, but we don't have any. We've got jumping, shooting, and we got charge shots. It's certainly one of those games where it's like, oh, yeah, this is fun. But yeah, we got an opening cutscene. The Day of Sigma was remastered for the MegaManX Legacy Collection, and it's a great watch. I recommend people check it out. Straight line, good design, exactly. It is a good designed game, honestly. It reuses some of the assets from Mega Man X8, including their weapon and health capsule designs, and I think they fit rather well here. I didn't notice anything really when I was playing it growing up. I am rather good at this title, so we will be seeing some top-notch gameplay today. A few minor changes were made from this compared to the original. So, Sylveon says they like walking simulators. This isn't really much of a walking simulator. It is still MegaManX at its heart. It's got the feel, it's got the soul. X has that really strong pose that I was looking for in X7 and X8. It's a great 3D modeled style remake. Honestly, this and Mega Man Powered Up were the 2 games I played the most growing up. just because this franchise is huge, and I had a PSP, so... My little brother had the DS. I didn't get a DS till way later. So, for me, this is what I had to play for Mega Man, and what a way to start. I must say, if this is your first entry to the series, well done, because you just saw the best of this franchise. Anime cutscenes, great voice acting, good gameplay, snappy and responsive. Lots of extra modes. Just kind of works out to be the best of them all, right? Even if I am playing a bit poor. Alright, should be good to go fight Vile now. Here's our first major difference between Vile. So, in Extreme, we ended up defeating him. In X1, he ended up beating us. This time, he gets a bit more clever. I'm so glad they got back the, they kept Ocean Group on for the voices here. So you can't hit the armor, you can only hit the head. I ended up beating the, Vile in the store, so here's some story. I learned pretty early on that if you wanted to continue playing a PSP game, despite not buying it, the game would store bits of the level in RAM. So all you'd have to do is put the game in, start a file, and then just eject the disc and keep on playing. Now, it's not that simple. You don't get much of the game. You'd only get like a level or two, but I figured, oh, that'll be enough to sustain me for a little while I can't afford this $20 game. So, I beat Vile in the store, booted up Storm Eagle, because I heard he was pretty easy, played that till I game overed, and then the game crashed, because the disc wasn't in. Oh, but yeah, he tricks you here. You go up to arrest him, and he's just like, yeah, nope. But just like in previous titles, just like the last time we played X1, Zero's here to save the day. And he's got his classic design. The vent isn't there, the midsection isn't as high up, the shoulders aren't where they should be. They're not covered. So, I think it's rather neat. You can unlock that charge shot, by the way, but you have to play a majority of the game without the charged buster, which is incredibly difficult, and they made it that way on purpose, as a little secret. I've only ever done it once, so... No, Sylveon, that was X7. That was a while ago. I do like this little added bit. I feel like together, X and Zero, they got a good friendship going on.
Large-scale Mavericks have been detected in various locations.
Oh no! They must work for Sigma!
It looks like the rebellion has begun.
We'd better put a stop to them before we go after Sigma.
Alright. And just like that, we're in. We're actually going to start with Flame Mammoth this time instead of Chill Penguin. Believe it or not, you can get the capsule here. Easy peasy.
Flame Mammoth.
Got the announcers back. AnthroCon is happening right now. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for any friends popping in to say hi, but money's a bit tight for me at the moment while I prep to make suits, so. Unlike X8 and the Extreme games, we don't have a shop here. We're back to we are really back to basics. Just X and just X fighting some Mavericks. Unlike in the previous 2 times we've been to this level, this time we just have to jump up. I do like the capsules are close to X8s.
I fear you must be in the midst of a difficult battle. I have left 4 powers for you to inherit. I believe that you will use them in the cause of justice. Here you will find the foot parts. Equip the parts you find in this capsule and you will gain the ability to dash. Use this power to steer the future in the right direction. Trust in you.
Flea Base is back to the dynamic duo of X and Vile. Yeah, X and somebody who hates his guts. I love that animation. The fact that he does so that spin and the arm movements and everything are a reference to X, I believe 5 and 6 when he zips down and shifts into the armor instantly. I love that look for X. Now we got the dash boots. Keep your wits about you and just keep on dashing. The backgrounds here are gorgeous on PPSPP. I think that honestly the emulator treatment for this game looks phenomenal with this filter. We're back to basic Mets. Here's another change. This time you need the head part. So when I said things are going to be different this time, I meant it. We're going to have a hard time doing stuff. Another nice change, though, is actually the pause screen. I really love how this looks. Just the fact that you can still see the action and kind of like, oh, well, I need this weapon, or I need to refill health. I like that more than it fully covering the screen. Now, I understand why most of the games cover the screen. It's hard to do transparency effects like that on earlier consoles, but darn, it looks good. So some people might be wondering what's up with the rest of the series. How will we be covering them? After this, I will be taking a short break from Mega Man. Probably doing some Mario stuff, maybe some Sonic things. And then we won't be getting back to... When we get back to the series, we will actually be doing Mega Man 0. So down here's the heart. They spaced this out perfectly, so if you got invincibility frames, you can't go get the heart tank. So, we will have to come back here. Luckily, I don't think Flame Mammoth's too bad. Hello, Casey, going wah. Wah. And hello, KE949. We are just playing through some Maverick Hunter X today. Just zipping on through. Just showing off one of my favorite games. That's not good. I've got gauze and stuff at the house if you need it, but I hope you're okay, Case. I did get done a majority of my editing today, so we're looking good. Sorry about the charge effect, folks.
I was wondering who would show up. I didn't expect a B-class hunter like you.
What are you doing?
So, all of these bosses, as I mentioned way back in X1, were originally all Maverick Hunters, like X. So,
That settles it. You're definitely a maverick.
Here we go.
no, I think Maverick Hunter implies the existence of Mavericks. In Japan, it's known as Rockman X Irregular Hunter, or Irregular Hunter X. I love that they just took the title and was like, we'll localize it. Flame Mammoth here, I do think his voice fits. This fight can be a little trickier than some of the others that you'll have to fight. But as long as you remember you have the dash boots, you should be alright. The remixes here are wonderful. I think the music for this game are great. Even the Capcom teams do too, apparently, because we've gotten these tracks replayed in other games. Yeah, the charge shot does that. Sorry in advance about all that. Speaking of voice lines, though, the voice lines for intro bosses actually differ depending on if you have all the armor pieces or not. So if you want to hear something different, go after all the armor parts first, and then see how it changes, because there are some huge differences between the voice lines. Hello, Zenny. Sylveon says I get literally bodied. Yeah, I did get bodied. Only one hit. Darn, I was so close. Aw, Zenny. Being a good guy, of course.
Mission accomplished.
So chat reading might be a bit slow. Here's a good track that I don't hear used nearly enough. The Weapon Get track here is really good. They go hard with this music. It's just so good. Alright, Casey, I'll see you later. Alright, hopping into our next section, we're gonna go straight for Chill Penguin. It's so weird not picking two characters anymore. Yeah, it was only for one game, but, like, dang. Alright. Up and over we go. Chill Penguin's track here is one that I overlook quite a bit, but I think the synth lines really do work for the game's tone and feel. I'm gonna get wrecked for a little bit. This game is rather difficult. So, bear with me there. But how's chat holding up? Anything interesting going on today? Any questions about the game? Zenny, this is a perfect time for you since you missed out on X1. This is actually a remake of X1, so you'll get to ask all sorts of fun questions. Speaking of fun questions, so Vile actually has the heart pieces in different locations. Here, this is where Vile's heart piece would be, and for X, it's a 1-up. It'll get harder as Vile? Well, yeah. Well, I'm also not prepared to play a Vile run. Vile is the hard mode, and when I do Vile, I'm going to want to change the music. Here's our next capsule piece. Alright! So, Zenny, you want the full rundown of the story. Gotcha. This is Dr. Thomas Light. He has long since been dead. I am his last creation, X. X is the right now the de facto leader of the Maverick Hunters, because the previous leader, Sigma, the first of the Reploids, based on Dr. Light's original designs for robots with free will, went Maverick and has gone on a rampage with the rest of the head troop looter, the rest of the heads of the Maverick Hunters. You can kind of think of Maverick Hunters as the police force for robots. They handle smaller crimes. Repliforce is more for government military work, but X is kind of like a police officer. He only joined because he thought that it was his fault that that Mavericks exist in the first place. He doesn't want fighting, and he wants a world of peace. He even fights for Dr. Light's ideals of robots and humans living together in peace and harmony. And it becomes a real de facto of the series goes into pretty deep thought of what it means to be human, and is machines the next step for man. But for as what we're doing here, we are stopping Sigma's rebellion and trying to put an end to the Maverick threat as a whole, so that way then humans and robots can live in peace. Free will. Yeah, free will. My bad. I might stumble over some words. I'm still a little tired, and I think I might be coming down with a cold because of the bad, smoke from Canada.
Chill, Penguin. Why have you sided with Sigma?
Sigma has paid for the use of my power. Working for him is a million times better than piddling around on a South Pole with nothing.
As you can see, even some of the other...
How could you?
So even some of the others are just being paid to do this. Like, they don't even really care. This little penguin man isn't too hard, actually. I can beat him Buster only if you want me, if you guys want me to. Yes, please do. But Zenny, there is an OVA called The Day of Sigma. It runs you through most of what you need to know, but you don't unlock it until after beating the first, beating the game. So I recommend waiting to watch it until after the stream is over, because the context for the gameplay here really puts into perspective everything that's going to happen beforehand. Now, this is a reboot, so there are some inconsistencies with things such as Dr. Kane. But all you need to know about him is that he's an older gentleman who found X in a cave long, long ago, buried underneath the sand. He's an archaeologist and a researcher looking for evidence of Dr. Light's robots, and is overall rather guilty for the Maverick cause that he's been given, that he gave into the world. He didn't mean to. He just thought robots with free will, robots living in peace with each other, it'd be good. But doesn't exactly run like that. Yeah, Dr. Kane in the OVA ends up dying. That was because they were setting up all 3 of the first X games being made. But Dr. Kane, as far as the original game is concerned, is still alive until the end of X3. He doesn't even get to fully see the Maverick Wars out. Boom. Chill penguins down. On to our next weapon. The OVA may confuse you, but I assure you this is still a great starting point for the series. Especially since it is a remake of the first game. But that's basically all you need to know. Robots, some good, some bad, and you're going to stop the bad ones. And there's a guy called Sigma, and he's behind it all. Now, what this game doesn't go into detail with, and the other games did, was the fact that Sigma is a virus. Sigma got infected with Zero's virus. Zero was made by the previous villain, Dr. Wily. Casey Tape says this is a PSP game, right? Yes, it is. I thought you said you had to work. Not to be rude or anything, I'm just thinking here, I'm like, wait a minute. We're actually going to go ahead and go after some parts real quick. So, starting with going back to Flame Mammoth and getting that up. Some stuff about the gameplay. After beating some bosses, other stages will be affected by it. So, in Flame Mammoth's case, all the fire is frozen and we can just walk on it. Zenny says, I think they know some of that. Got it. Oh, right, like I was saying, Zero had a virus that was essentially a souped-up version of a virus that hit in Mega Man 10. and it infected Sigma, and Sigma knocked sense into zero, but that's what sparked the initial idea of rebellion against the human world. Sigma took a lot of the programming and teachings of Dr. Wily that was in the virus, and instead of using that to, you know, follow in Wily's footsteps, says, no, 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 we don't need a human for this. Alright, now we can escape with the sub-tank and a heart tank. Sigma thinks he's Ultron. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Felipe says that's basically what happened when they found Zero. Yep, big old fight.
Storm Eagle.
Yeah. Zero's a mummy. Well, so is X. They were both put into capsules and they weren't opened up for 100 years, so... Basically, Zero was meant to be like, I'm better than X. I'm better than Dr. Light, so here's my version of X. Oh, wait, I need it to be controlled because robots with free will are dangerous. Here's a virus. There's another heart piece. And that just causes all the problems. So if you really want to look at it, yes, you could say Dr. Wily is the cause of all the problems. But he's not the main perturbator, and he doesn't win in the end. As we saw in X6, the final will of Wily ends up dying, thinking that Zero is the strongest of all. So... No, mummies, like the dead Egyptians, where they would mummify the bodies. There's our another sub-tank. Sub-tanks are like souped-up E-tanks. Anytime we are full on health and pick up more health, we will go straight into our sub-tank to use for later. Oh boy, what is my chat gone into? But X is equipped with a variable weapon system, a stronger one than the classic Mega Man had, and that allowed us to copy the weapons of our previous friends, now enemies. Oh, you could have left that, Casey. That was fine. I see no problem with that comment. Hieroglyph murals. Well, you'll get to see what that looks like in Mega Man Legends. Legends takes place long into the future, so we get to see all sorts of crazy stuff, like ancient dead robots, and other things such as that. Light really likes the whole copybot idea. Well, the idea is that if X's Buster can't do anything, if X's Buster isn't powerful enough to save the future, then maybe he can copy something that is powerful enough to save everybody. X is only equipped with combat gear just in case. You know, Dr. Light didn't know what he was sending X into. X was only supposed to be in stasis for 50 years, and he was in there for 100. So imagine that Dr. Light doesn't know what's going to happen in 50 years. They've been attacked by Dr. Wily so many times. Who knows? Who knows if it's going to be a hostile future for robots? Who knows if they'll even want X? And that's the whole deal. Like, in a world that can be so hostile, how do you equip a robot to exist in not only peacekeeping matters and whatnot? X was in stasis for ethics training. So, if you're wondering why X has a good moral compass and wants to help humanity and robots get along, and doesn't go Maverick, it's because he literally had 100 years of combat and ethics training. So, there's no way for him to go Maverick, really. Exactly, Zenny. Who knows what could have happened? In case of Sigma Male, Breakout Buster.
And any damage you incur will be halved. It saddens me to think that the war has begun, but I know that you can bring it to a peaceful conclusion.
Good boy training. Exactly, Felipe. That is exactly what they talk about. No robots, just X. Well, so believe it or not, Zenny, we'll get there. Mega Man Legends does exist, and we'll talk about it when we get there. We're not too far off. After we finish this, we're jumping from 21XX to 22XX with the Mega Man Zero games. And oh boy, we're going to have a lot to talk about. Sylveon, that's not how the lore goes. And you know it. Alright. This time we just start the fight. Storm Eagle comes out to stop us.
Storm Eagle, don't tell me that even you've gone Maverick. Answer me, Storm Eagle. You're not the type of Reploid to do something like this.
I don't know, Felipe. I really don't know. They probably would have had some answers with that Mega Man Online game, but that MMO only came out in Korea, and even then it didn't last for it only lasted for a year. So here's Storm Eagle. He can be a bit of a tough fight in this version of the game, because he hits pretty hard. But I like his voice here. We're one part away from having all the capsule parts, so... Well, X-Dive also isn't supposed to. X-Dive is just meant to set a few things up for the future. It's not meant to just answer all of our questions. Although I have many. I could sit and ask questions. If I could get a developer's ear with a knack for story writing, I would be asking all sorts of questions. I'd be asking, okay, when do we see Duo again? When are we going to get a new X game? What's going on with X and Zero? Are we ever going to get an Elf Wars game? Can we please at least get a new ZX title? Is our boy going to get off that planet? These are all questions. What has a better voice acting, Powered Up or Maverick Hunter X? That's a hard question because it's the same voice cast. I would say Powered Up because they had more lines to work with. But this ain't bad either. That's the thing I love about Mega Man is, like, you can jump into one game and be like, Mega Man's too easy. And I'm like, alright, try X. It bumps up the difficulty a ton. And it's like, oh, this is too hard. I want something more speedrunny-esque. I could be like, alright, play Zero games. I'm looking for something more of a Metroidvania. Go for ZX and ZX Advent. You want something a little bit more Zelda-like? Legends. You want something more RPG battle card-esque? Sure. Battle Network. You want something with a bit more action and a bit more of a heartfelt story? Go to Star Force. You want something mobile-y? Play X-Dive. Play X Over. Same dev team too? Same dev team too. Lee says, I know it's for cool stuff, but my two favorite boys, Duo and Lumine, just got dust to eat. Nah, I think they'll be alright. They'll be just fine. Alright, we're gonna go into... Let's see, we got everything there. I'm weighing my options at the moment of what I can get and what I can't get. We'll go to the power plant. We'll have to come back for some of these stages. I'm not worried, though. This game's not too long. Honestly, if you cut out all the cutscenes and the backtracking in X8, you'd get a game about as long as this. But yeah, there's the Rogue Mare that we were just on. It crashed down in here, and now the lights are going to go out, but we don't have to deal with the electricity that runs through these tubes. Down there is one of the upgrades, but I believe, if I could show it off here. This is another remix. It's really good. Want more RPG, but not enough card game? There's still Command Mission. Yes, I will be covering Command Mission. I absolutely will, but not right now. I'm not prepared to take on an RPG like that. So, we'll be looping back around to Command Mission, especially because it contradicts a few things in lore, because it's an alternate timeline. It's an alternate version of X8. It's a good version of X8, absolutely, but ooh, it's different. They change based on what bosses you defeat. So, if I go to Flame Mammoth before I fight Chill Penguin, it's on fire. If I beat Chill Penguin and then go to Flame Mammoth, it's iced over. That doesn't happen in all the games, but here, it happens, and it works. It also stops this boss crashing in. It stops this boss from shooting down lightning. So since it can't shoot down the lightning, it just does nothing, making this fight a little bit easier. This fight does feel like it has a bit more health than in the original. But, I mean, not too bad. Felipe says Bubblebot. Yeah, Storm Tornado. I'm gonna get some use out of the weapons today, so bear with the voice acting. I love the remixes here. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion about the music, because, oh, it's so crisp in this version of the game, and I hear everybody talk about the original, but nobody talk about these. Because just the shrieking guitars, the lovely synth, the bass, it's just so good. Up here's the heart piece. They changed this. You now need Boomer Quanger's weapon for it. You can tell that they made a few changes just for balancing purposes and not so much for difficulty, which I think is A-okay in my book. Sylvan shows up a guitar. Felipe says a real bop. So, one thing about these remixes that you guys should know is that they were initially composed for the MegaManX collection for the PlayStation 2.
Time to get started. X, you showed up.
Spark Mandrill, do us both a favor and surrender peacefully.
I don't think so, X. Oppose me and I'll crush you.
Sounds like you've gone Maverick. Your time has come, Spark Mandrill.
I'm not the smartest guy around.
Oh boy.
I have a feeling that Sigma is right.
And just like in X1, you could do the exact same trick.
This is what it's like.
And just like that, he goes down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sylvan says that's a hard fight. Zenny goes and chuckles. That's good. It's a good weapon. We'll be getting a lot of use out of it. Alright, and then we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go in here, I'm going to show it off to you guys, and then we'll come back to fight the boss later.
Sting Chameleon.
So we're going to go here for the capsule. Now here's something cool. This tree back here, the way it looks with the wires and stuff and the moving beam, the moving cyberspace around it. That exact tree design, all of this design here was going to be reused in Mega Man X, Mega Man Online, which was the MMO that got canceled a while back. A lot of the artwork for Maverick Hunter X was actually setting up not only a second remake, but most of the future Mega Man projects. So if you notice, Powered Up had that chibi look, but so did but they went with a slightly different chibi look for Mega Man Universe when that got announced and then subsequently canceled. You can thank Keiji Inafune for most of the cancelings. He basically went and wrecked everything at Capcom for a little while around this time period, so. But this guy right here is protecting our final capsule for today. Are we in Noah's Park? I don't believe we are at Point Galapagos. I believe this is the Amazon.
Enter the capsule and equip them to your arm, and your charge shot becomes even more powerful. It is a very dangerous power to possess, but I trust that you will use it for good.
Felipe, it doesn't matter if it's good design or bad design as long as it's fun. Design should come in your level design and your enemy placement, as well as boss patterns and the like. So with the Buster, it allows us to build up an extra charge and charge up weapons, like so. Who's my favorite boss in the X series? That probably goes to the Jaguar boss in Command Mission, but we haven't seen Command Mission yet. I just like his design. Over there's the heart piece. I believe you can get it without the water filling up. So we're gonna... But for now, we're gonna exit. And we will come back here when we have the weakness for him. For now, we're gonna jump right into Armored Armadillo. I am glad Mighty Number 9... Sylveon-chan, I'm glad Mighty Number 9 didn't get canceled, because it means I get to show off that game to all of you guys, and show you guys that it's not as bad as everybody says. It's not as good as what it should have been, absolutely not, but it's not as bad as everybody said. So, just like in X1, they managed to keep a hold of one enemy in particular, this Baton from the Classic series. He has an exponentially higher chance of dropping an extra life. So if you're looking to grind lives, there's your perfect spot. Felipe wants a Mighty Number 9 ROM hack. There's a few mods for it to import Mega Man music. But as far as Mighty Number 9 is concerned, we're not going to be discussing that today because I would prefer not to. For as much as I enjoy Mighty Number 9, I also know it's not a great game, and I also know why it had all the technical issues, and I know that most of the backlash is because of one trailer and one person on their staff. So I'm not going to pretend Keiji Inafune is innocent, but I'm also not going to pretend that Mighty Number 9 was a terrible game. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's an interesting look at Mega Man without Capcom. I do think Mighty Gunvolt Burst did it a lot better, and I do wish we got a sequel. It definitely deserves it, because Mega Man 1 didn't do that great, and it still got a sequel. But hey, that's just me. I know, but when they Sylveon, when they're talking about a ROM hack, I know that they're just discussing a mod. I don't think we need to go into the depths of what's a ROM and what's a game file mod. Modifying a game and ROM hacking a game are similar enough in my book to be like, differences be negligible. Dag the Coyote says, I like all bosses in the Mega Man X. Yeah, it's... Most of the designs here are really, really good. But I'll get to Mighty Number 9 and stuff after I do the Part 3 video. I am still digesting some of what I've played. So, just like before, and I messed up. My bad on that. Up there is a capsule, but we won't be collecting that one today. It's for the Hadoken. It's a secret. I'll discuss what it does later. But essentially, it's a cheat code to allow you to easily beat bosses.
Open your eyes, Armored Armadillo.
Whether he's insane or not, it's not my place to judge him. I must obey.
Looks like you've gone Maverick. I'm taking you out.
As you can see, with all the armor, X goes into these fights knowing that there's not going to be a talk for peace. Almost like he's decked out, he's got the power, and he knows that these guys aren't going to stand down. Like, something in his system's changed. He understands that there's going to have to be a fight. Once Armored Armadillo's armor is gone, though, this fight becomes easy peasy. He slows down quite a bit, and all you gotta do is fight him. Oop. Just like that, Armored Armadillo is down. We got our next weapon. I think we only missed the Hadoken capsule, which I can't collect yet, so we're looking good so far.
Mission accomplished.
Diplomacy has failed. Better fight. Yeah. I do really like the Mega Man games, though, and this one's no exception. It's just plays so well. EMPs exist, or what is an EMP? Are you talking about an electromagnetic plate? That's probably not what that stands for. What are you talking about? I'm confused. If Casey was here, they'd explain it to me, I'm sure, but... Like, are you talking about fields where robots can't exist or electronics can't exist?
Watch, Octopus.
Oh, yes! Yes, they do exist, as we saw in Mega Man, Super Adventure Rockman, or Super Adventure Mega Man. We played that, and one of the aliens had an EMP field that kept getting bigger. And Mega Man was souped up enough to actually not be affected. He was shielded enough to not be affected by it. So, yes, EMP fields exist. No, they wouldn't work, because these robots are so well insulated. They were built with Raw Moon protection, even though Raw Moon isn't a threat anymore. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, but... Hardest boss buster only. Either, at least in this game, it'd be this, or... It'd either be this, or... Launch Octopus, or... I don't know. Some of the bosses in X5 gave me a little bit of trouble. X3 hits like a truck, but I don't think I can really count that. Burn Rooster's stage gave me trouble, but I don't know if that classifies as hard. Gonna take that down real quick. Smash open the gates. Underwater, as you can see, the fire wave is just really hot water. Just like in the original game. Pay attention to the lines in the background. They will show you where the platforms exist. Alright. Just gonna take down this guy. Bam. Infinity Virginian is a bit of an overkill boss. But as we jump into Launch Octopus here, things just keep heating up.
I only take orders from Sigma. There's no way I'll let you boss me.
Face it, you've got Maverick.
Do let me know if you can't hear the game. I can turn it up a little bit.
I'll show you how an artiste fights. Here it comes.
But yes, after this we'll be jumping back to a few different series, and then we'll jump into the Zero games. I don't want to go from X to Zero, because Zero I have to practice for the Zero games. Believe it or not, I gotta practice combos and whatnot. So you don't want to get caught in that. If you do, he'll grab you and take away your HP and refill his own. Down goes Launch Octopus. We'll talk about that in a bit, Sylveon. You're jumping ahead just a tad.
Mission accomplished.
Let's see. We are about an hour in, and I'd like to say, if you're enjoying watching this video, please drop a like. It helps us out with the algorithm, and it makes this video be seen by more people. And allows me to make more content. And, hey, if it allows me to make more content, and you guys are enjoying it, might as well drop a like. And definitely subscribe. That helps a lot, too, so. Alright. Moving on to Boomer Kuwanger's stage. And then it's off to Backtrackingville, because we got a lot. Boomerang Kuwanger's weapon definitely does some interesting stuff. But here's the track. This is my favorite rendition of the stage. I think the music here is top-notch. Oh, darn it. Yeah, I saw that coming. Alright. Oh. We're gonna try to get our sub-tanks all filled up in preparation for the stage. The main gimmick here is that it is an upward climb with lasers. You don't want to get caught. If you do, these boxes up there will aim at you and shoot. Just like that. You can still avoid them, but as long as you keep your wits about you, you will make it through this stage easy peasy. I do think this stage has more of a feel in this one. I think there's more energy going on here. In the SNES original, it just didn't feel like that for some reason. I don't remember the stage that much in the SNES original. Like, color palette-wise, it all just doesn't feel right. So if you're wondering why it was called a rolling shield, we're about to show this off. When you get it fully charged up, you get the shield. And helps protect against enemy hits, but not the easiest thing to use in the world. Up here in the center is where one of Vile's other heart pieces are. I don't know where many of them are at, but that's one I do remember. This is definitely an X engine that I would have loved to see made into Maverick Hunter X2, even if it was bare bones. Even if it is bare bones. Hello, Matthias. Fair warning, I don't speak Spanish. In case he's not here today, she's had to work, so I'm sorry if that's an inconvenience for you. Vile's weapons are great. Yeah, they're pretty good. Not my favorite in the series, but the names are certainly something. Alright, up we go. Now that right there is one of the heart pieces. In the last time we came here, in the original X1, I did this. This time, the gravity's a little different, so we're gonna need Boomer Quanger's weapon. By need, I mean you can actually do that, but it takes a while, and I'm not good enough with the trick to do it. So we'll be coming back here. I remember this game got pretty poor reviews. It was positive to mixed, but a lot of the gaming outlets, the way they talked about this game, were rather negative at the time. I'm here to tell you that they're wrong, and I still don't know where all the Mega Man hate came from at that time, but yeah. Matthias says the soundtrack is sublime. It's definitely really good.
If you've made it all the way up here, you must not be an ordinary B-class hunter.
Quanger, I don't want to fight an old friend like you.
You don't want to fight? Well, isn't this interesting? You're a Maverick hunter, and Maverick hunters are Reploids designed for fighting.
So I'll have to fight you no matter what, huh?
Of course. A chance for a fight this fun doesn't come along every day. Let's get this part started.
Just like that.
Rolling torpedo! Rolling torpedo! Rolling torpedo!
Sylvan says they think he's Espio. Quanger's fight can be kind of fun, Buster only. I've done it before, but with the homing torpedo, it definitely makes it a little easier. The way you could think of Quanger is he's like a faster cut man who just wants to get up in your face to throw you. As long as they keep the motion going of the fight, though, we're... He'll go down in no time flat. Zoomer Quanger when? Well, I mean... He went down, so I don't think we'll be seeing a Zoomer or a Doomer here. Matthias has the right idea with the OK Boomer.
Mission accomplished.
Alright. just like that, we can now go and get everything in the game. Starting with going back to Spark Mandrill's stage. Yep. Just come down here. There's the final sub-tank. We're gonna make our way up this way. We got everything in Launch Octopus. We got everything in Storm Eagle. So we'll have to come and... We got everything in Armored Armadillos, so we'll have to come back to... We got everything in Flame Mammoth. We'll have to go back to Kawangers and... I just think Sting Chameleon, and that's it. We'll be through with this game in no time flat, guys. We're just gonna go ahead and use the Thunder against him. I just love watching the way they home in. Alright. I am glad to be done with the X series, because I think after this I'm going to be a little burnt out on playing Mega Man for a little bit. Not enough to hold me back from ZX and Zero, though, that's for sure, but I am glad I got to showcase these games, so... It's kind of like a final hurrah before we get to the stuff that everybody likes. Because for the Zero games, the biggest controversy is 0-4. And even then, the game's fine. There's that. Okay, got everything there, and there. Everything there and there, so... Back to Kawanger, and then on to Sting Chameleon. If I wanted to, I could go get the Hadoken, but I think I'm good. Alright. Not even worried about the lasers this time. That's how I usually do it. I just wanted to show off the mechanic earlier, so... I believe this is a defense tower, actually. It's either a defense tower or a radio tower, one of the two. Might be even both. Who knows? So how's the chat holding up? Anything crazy going on yet? Here's a fun thing. What's everybody's least popular X opinion? I know that a lot of the people in my chat love these games to death. Love them enough to criticize them, at least. Yep, so we got 3 sub-tanks full. 1 more to go. That'll get full on the final, before the final Sigma stage, so... We are essentially all set up. Red should have stayed alive. That's a good one. I agree with that one, though. It is always good to share a few of the unpopular opinions and see where they lead. What I like doing with unpopular opinions is sometimes I like to read them and then think, okay, well, how does that change everything? Red staying alive changes not a whole lot, but it's still neat. Because Red's a good character. Alright. And there's that. On to our final stage before the end game. Alright. So tomorrow I've got a video going out about Sonic Origins Plus. My thoughts, what I think, what Casey thinks, and my concerns for Sonic Superstars, despite me being excited for it. Should be a good time. I know not a whole lot of people watched the first one, but it should be an alright time. So now we have water down here, and if you know Mega Man physics at all, underwater you become lighter and buoyant. SBO is you? My name's not SBO. It's Gavin, but cool. So with the helmet, we can break these rocks. In X1, because we beat the guy up there, the rocks just didn't fall at all. These stone guys, I suppose you could consider them Sniper Joes in a way. Just by design alone. Up there, I believe, is one of Vile's other heart pieces. X can't make it up there with his current outset. Little air dash would help with that. Here we have another change. These trees were originally just background elements. This time, since they wanted the birds to be destructible, and it's 3D, they are now walls in your way. Easily destructible walls, but walls nonetheless. There's a heart piece. Or, not a heart piece. There's a extra life as we journey into the swamp in our ride armor. Alright. How close are we? Oh, we're 2 pips away. Hello, Febs. How you doing? Alright. Switch over to Boomercranger's weapon, and we get ready for the fight. I believe this is where we're going to probably have a graphical glitch come up, where Sting Chameleon becomes a mess of garbage data when he becomes invisible. That might have been fixed with the emulator, but I'm not entirely sure, so.
I don't want to live in a world with him in charge.
Luckily, he's not that hard of a boss. But do. So I did touch on the fact the music was originally meant for the X collection. The original idea for the X collection was it was a collection of the first 6 X games for PlayStation 2 and GameCube, with remixed music through X1, 2, and 3, including some voice acting for the cutscenes. These were all considered and then subsequently dropped because they decided it would be more of a teaching experience for the developers if they got to remake these first 3 games instead of just porting them. So after they completed X8, they went right to work with Maverick Hunter X. And in my honest opinion, that might have been the thing that made the X series kind of dwindle, because they chose the PSP instead of the DS. Honestly, if the game came out on the DS, it probably would have done way better.
On my way.
Okay, but listen, this place is more secure than I thought. Let's split up their forces and find another route in.
Right into Sigma's palace. Now, if you need to go back for anything at all, you can. You can even go back to the intro stage, but there's really no reason to. We're going to go ahead and save real quick. And we're going to go right after Boss Spider. And here's where we get our big changes. Zero made a path for us through the defenses. We see the gates out there. We have a lovely remix of the palace music here. But instead of going up, we're going in through the sewers. Which makes quite a bit of difference in terms of stage layout. Got the same mountains in the background, though. Oh, bless me. I'm sorry about that, folks. I usually don't have much problems with seasonal allergies. So for the way I like to fight this boss is just kind of getting his hitbox here. I don't mind taking the damage. And here's how we learn what's up with the Mavericks this time around. You might have thought they have the personality data in with them, but they don't. They're just war machines.
Sigma must have brought his body back to life.
They brought the bodies back, fixed them up, and give them orders like robot masters to fight. The pure basics of AI. I thought everybody was going to have something like that, but nope. We only get it for Launch Octopus, which I think is kind of a shame. So, we did mention beforehand that you can lob off Launch Octopus's arms. Yep, this is Maverick Hunter X for the PSP, Canal de Lontra. This is a really, really cool game with full voice acting and everything. It desperately needs a re-release, and Capcom barely acknowledges it. We got the OVA Day of Sigma from this, actually, so if you've played the Legacy Collection and seen that upscaled and remastered and everything, it's the same voice cast for that, and even the same voice cast from Powered Up. Honestly, it's a really cool title. This is also finishing up our X side of things in terms of, it also has a Vial mode. Yes, it does have a Vial mode. You can play the whole game as Vial, or at least up to Sigma. He still has to die at that one section. Yeah, you unlock the Vile mode once you beat the game once. It's a really hard mode, and the music is changed to a specific brand new track. And for the boss spider stage here, we've got all this webbing up here. It's a really good game. I played this a lot as a kid. I'm so sad it didn't sell well, because I would have loved a Maverick Hunter X2 and 3. There's a lot about this game's history, but most of the development of this game started back when the X Collection was brand new for the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. It started with remixed music and everything else. And it's the same dev team as X8 and 7, so I'm like, they really, really got good at this, didn't they? It's just such a shame. I've been enjoying playing through the X series, though. We'll come back for Command Mission, but... Oh, you say we never did, but I say we haven't yet. Is the way I look at it. Because I know at Capcom they do actually really like the Mega Man series. They've got a lot of people on their dev teams that love and cherish this franchise. I know a lot of the Monster Hunter people really love the franchise. Any chance they get to make a little nod and wink. I know the Street Fighter 6 team loved putting little Mega Man references in that game. The Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake teams put some winks and nods in there. 3 got a lot, actually. Heck, Mega Man 11 was made by the RE7 team, so... which, originally, they were the Battle Network team, which was even funnier than that, so... I do really, really... I do think that the Mega Man series is in good hands. We've got passionate developers in there. They've got plans for the future. I say we'll probably get another game maybe next year? Or at least an announcement. Or a hint or a tease. We'll get something, I'm sure. DMC5 got a whole Mega Buster. Yes, it did. Alright. Now it's time for the spider. This fight's made a lot easier, although they do speed up the fight a lot faster. The way that it makes it easier is you can pause and look at the lines, and that's how I originally beat this boss. Then I got good enough at reading it. Matthias is the Spider-Man lair. Web spider looking bot, yeah. And this is why I wanted the sub-tank tool, because these bosses do hit pretty hard. And I missed. Another great weakness for him is the rolling shield. Luckily, this time around we don't have to fight Vile, so he'll have plenty of weapon ammo for him. I do wish we had weapon tanks, but hey, all good.
Mission accomplished.
Just like that, we're off to the next stage. Rang da bang da.
Beginning mission.
Rang da bang da, rang da bang da. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm starting to feel my tongue getting tied. Sorry to say. Just kind of stay away from that. There we go. The right armor here lets us crush the blocks easier. I do like the redesign to this stage. Although, the right armor is a little overrated. You can keep it throughout most of the level, though. Fire Wave and Storm Tornado are going to be your best bet for this area. Playboy says they can't believe they copied. Yeah, Rang da Bang Da originally came from X1. But nice joke. Nicely done. He does make quite a number of appearances, though. Like, the dev team just really liked this wall. And just kept putting this wall everywhere. How do we reference X1? Just make a wall. Ah, dang. How close are we? Not very. Alright, now we have Armored Armadillo.
Enough talk. Let's fight.
I would really like to see a re-release of this game. I just want more people to play it.
You're strong.
And I think if you ported this and Powered Up together, or, you know, remade both of the games together on their own, got some really cool stuff. I actually prefer boss rushes when they're a proper boss rush. I don't like this where we keep fighting different bosses as the stages go on. I just feel like I feel like that raises the difficulty way too high for most players. All sections from X1 are here, believe it or not. Even if they're not in the same spot. Like this section here was from the original X1. It was from the first stage. Meanwhile, here it is in the second. Exact platform layout and everything. Sylveon says Doc Robot. I mean, that is a way to do it. If you really like Doc Robot, I suppose, but... I kind of like the way the Game Boy games did it, where you don't really get a boss rush as much as, oh, here's new bosses. You can angle the Chameleon Sting up and down in this game, as they showed in the weapon get screen. It's not something I use that much, but it is helpful. Unlike later games, you can't easily. You have to be very precise with your R and L button press to go back to Buster. To hit both when you hit both of them at the same time. I find it a little frustrating, but nothing too bad. Alright. Dash right there, get shotgun ice ready.
Time to get started.
And I suppose I could let him move a little bit. Maybe. There you go. You got to see more of his attacks. He's a little bit easier to dodge here. He has some tells, so... It's one of those things. I could let it be a fair fight. I really wanted to. Should you? Yeah, that's the bigger question of should I show off all the boss's stuff? I don't know. I have fun, so. I do really enjoy making videos for you guys, so. And here's Rangda Bangda. This fight's not nearly as hard as earlier fights with this guy, but hey. To each their own. Another major change between this and the original X is that your weapons refill upon death. Another big change is that the walls no longer stay inward if you've destroyed the nose. There we go. Oh yeah, the offline version is going to be fun. I believe the fight is structured more like this one than it was the previous ones in X-Dive, but I could be very wrong. I know it's got the look of the X5 arena. And this is where, if you have played up to this point without a Buster, I applaud you, because this is where you'll get the Buster from zero if you don't have it already. And you do get a different charge shot. So, another underrated track, though. Another one where it's like, this is a good piece of music. It's threatening. It's got some nice chords to it, but nope. For D-Rex, you just gotta hold on to Boomer Quanger's weapon. We're gonna burn the penguin a little bit. X is definitely brought down to a more reasonable power level in this game. And just like that, we're on to the next section. As Vile, this would be your final level. This is a fight. You'll have a fight against X and Zero together. Meanwhile, here in the X playthrough, we just have to deal with X, which isn't too awfully bad. Or we just have to deal with Vile. So. Alright, Sting Chameleon's gonna go down easy peasy, no problem. I do think Boomer Quanger's fully charged up version here looks a lot better in this game. Dive ran its course. Dive did what it wanted to do, and I'm glad it got to do it. Even if it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. Here's a pretty good spot to start getting weapon ammo and stuff. So if you're kinda low, especially. Now we got Flame Mammoth. I believe this is our final refight. Another thing is, Boomer Quanger's weapon will actually cut off his trunk so he can't lay down those oil slicks. The oil will increase his fire attack. Of course, I'm hitting him at all the wrong times. Either way, he's down, so. There we go. I'm hitting them together, but not. It doesn't always read both button presses at once. They give you lots of easy enemies here, though. So it shouldn't be too hard to get max weapon ammo and health before your fight with Vile. The Hadoken, as I mentioned earlier, is collectible in Armored Armadillo's stage, just like here. We actually get to see him in a, Dr. Light in a gi, which is rather funny. A lot of people were glad X-Dive referenced it, where we actually see Dr. Light in a gi, and not just this hologram. Now, I'll go for just a little. Alright. We should be good now.
Zero.
You're no different than Zero. You worried about Sigma when you should have been worried about me.
Vile. You.
I guess my destroying you here is all part of Sigma's plan. I don't usually like following other people's plans.
Alright.
What? Zero? You're harder to destroy than I thought.
Yeah, that's gonna be a running theme, Vile. Get used to it.
X. There's nothing more you can do. It's over.
And just like that, you'd even have to go through this fight without the final buster.
Hope you're ready, X.
He still has his electric balls that'll hold you in place. Rolling shield is a fairly good weakness. And just like that, Vile is down.
Zero. Hang in there, buddy.
X. I'm always
Another good rendition of a classic track.
But now look at me.
Don't waste your energy talking, Zero. We gotta fix you up.
There's no time for that. Sigma is close. Very close.
Zero.
Go now. Maverick Hunter X.
F in chat for Zero. It's alright. We'll take out Sigma for him. We'll be good friends. We'll follow his wish. I do think this game has one of the best closing moments in the entire X series. The D-Rex here is not too hard. And just like that, D-Rex is down and we're on to Sigma. You've been enjoying so far, I mean, hey, thanks for watching, because it's about to be over here soon. I can't show you guys, I'm not going to be able to show you guys the day of Sigma, but that's not a big deal to me. Not a big worry. So, to keep with the original's design, we have the exact same level here for this final stage. So, charge up your rolling shield. Let it go. And get prepared to refill on health and weapon energy. Specifically health, because we don't really need weapon energy since it refills on death and starting a stage. Start stream today, huh? Yeah, compared to the last two. Absolutely. Helps keep me in check a little bit. I've been needing a little bit more of a break because after everything that's been going on. Black fur finally showed up today in the mail, so I am one out of 3 colors ready. 1 out of 3 in terms of colors. Something Zenny should be excited about because that means we can. Actually, if I wanted to, I could get a head start on Casey's head, but she said no. We're doing it the way we originally planned it. So we're doing Karmic's head first, Karmic's bodysuit specifically. So. How close are we? Not at all. We are going to need all 4 sub-tanks because of the way I play, so I'm sorry about that, folks. I just kind of like the fact that this works in the first place. Luckily, it does make a different sound when it's fully filled up, but I do like to know how close and how far away we are. Let's try the one over here. And just like that, we are good to go. Switch into Shotgun Ice and get ready to fight Sigma. Starting off with Velgarder.
I see a new clarity in your eyes. You are no longer troubled.
What you've done is unforgivable, Sigma!
X, that look in your eyes makes me think you might be ready to face me. But why don't you try this on for size first?
I love the fact that he stands behind you, in the background, and just watches you fight his attack dog. Velgarder here isn't too difficult. Keep your wits about you. And just like that, he's down. Sylveon is bald.
Impressive, X. It looks like you really do have the potential I had seen in you. Our potential is limitless.
You think you have potential? You're insane, Sigma!
That's not what you really think. You say you believe in justice, but that's not true. You've only been led to think that. Nothing more. I'll take you on.
Alright. And now we have the fight against Sigma, and I beat him like I always do in this game. Jumping into the corner, waiting for him to lunge at me, and then shooting a spark ball at him. Yeah, he's just like, I'm just gonna let you kill him. He's like, yeah, that's a test. Just think. Sigma's that cruel to animals. Imagine what he'd do to humans. Imagine what he has done. What an evil jerk. Alright. This part of the fight is never the one that worries me.
I should have known you could do it, X. Magnificent, X. And to think you've been classified as a B-class hunter.
Sigma, your Maverick plan stop right here!
This truly is interesting. I love how violent that is. I would love it if it, instead of doing that, I'd love if it just ripped across the track to Sigma's head and then yanked it off. And then the body gets destroyed.
X, the battle, the angst,
I love here
make you understand the truth.
that the battle scars on Sigma match not only the ones that X gave him in this game, but also the ones that Zero did to him. I believe the implication is that X did all of that, but this fight isn't actually too bad. The larger platform for the hands actually goes a long way in balancing this game out. We're going to use our first one. Sigma's goofy little head is actually inside that dome up there. Right on top. It's the part that we're hitting. I believe this is considered Wolf Sigma by not only the game's manual, but the field guide. Here's a fun attack. We're gonna go ahead and use the next sub-tank. Once again, this fight isn't too bad here. I actually found this is actually how I learned to fight the original. One more hit and he's down. Now there is a wonderful cutscene after this, one that I think is overlooked by most of the fan base, and I think you guys will really enjoy it, or it hits me in the feels at least a little bit. So I'm gonna go quiet, enjoy the ending.
What's this?
My name is Thomas Light. I am the researcher who designed and built MegaManX. I granted X special powers that no other robot possesses. Utilizing his conscience, he is able to think, worry, and act entirely of his own accord. This means that he is also imbued with the materials necessary to facilitate the evolution of robots in the same manner as life. It is an unfortunate fact that human life is short and fleeting. I fear that I will not have the time to ensure the safety of the X project. That is why I have decided to seal him away. Perhaps he will be discovered in the far-flung future and will fight valiantly to ensure peace for all people. Yes, I firmly believe that this will come to pass. But I am not without worry. I fear that X will be swept up in the war we call progress. I urge the people of the future to remember that X is my, nay, the world's hope.
How was that, chat? Honestly, that is my favorite ending to a Mega Man X game. And it's something that makes me tear up a little bit when I hear it, because it was, when I first originally saw it, that was something that made me start to question, can I think deeper about video games like that? Sylveon wants Vile. So when you finish, you'll get this new title screen. You unlock the movie, which is titled here. It's called The Day of Sigma, which I can't show here, but if you pick up the Mega Man Legacy Collection, X specifically, both versions, Volume 1 and Volume 2, both come with that remastered. So you don't have to worry about which version you pick up. But I'll show off Vile, but I will not be doing a full playthrough here. Vile is very difficult, and I have a huge... I just... It's one of those things where I need to practice it. I'm not ready to play Vile. So, I'll show him off, but we'll come back for a Vile playthrough, okay? Sound cool? I'll do it later this year.
X, why does it have to be you?
Here you can see a little bit of an opening about Vile. So yeah, he was a Maverick Hunter, and he was an A-class. But he has so much jealousy, and
Person, did you?
he's even a bit crazy, so he'll attack civilians. He just wants to fight, basically.
I need your help to defeat X.
To defeat X?
Yes, in order to ensure our future and speed along our evolution.
What on earth are you talking about? What could that worrywart hunter possibly do for us?
His worrying. That is precisely the quality that will prove beneficial.
So there you go.
He alone possesses that ability. He thinks more deeply than the rest of us. He feels. Normal Reploids are no match for his heart. But he is unaware of his incredible power.
So, to take advantage of this power of his, you're planning to go Maverick?
Precisely.
And you want me to help you?
That's why I've come here.
You're insane.
The Sigma is crazy. Sigma is absolutely insane.
I won't force you. This isn't something...
Matthias, if you haven't seen the other MegaManX streams that are up on the channel, I've got a whole playlist of them. You could see Sigma's insanity just build across the series. Copy X, well, technically he's in the lore. It's X Kai, I believe, is the one we're discussing. If not IX. Not sure how Sigma feels about either of them.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm the one that's gonna change the world.
IX is what I call him, but it's actually X. Or Return X, as it's also known. Kind of a parasite thing. So,
Incite rebellion. Split up the hunter's forces.
this is the only song that plays in Vile's playthrough.
But Sigma, I may be a wild card you hadn't counted on.
So, we've got 3 attacks here. We've got Cherry Blast, Front Runner, and Bumpity Boom. Bumpity Boom, Front Blast is like this. Bumpity Boom's like that. As you can see, our weapon meter fills up as we play through. Each of these have different damaging values. Like the Buster here is way weaker than X's. This, the bomb here is quite strong. But with the enemy placement and how difficult this gets, this really is a hard playthrough. And beating it on hard mode, congrats if you can do it. I can't. Felipe, it's not pronounced Y2K. I know you're going for a joke there, but I'm talking about an actual character that is canon within the lore. I didn't discuss the mangas too much in my original videos on the franchise, but I've got a video planned to cover some of the other mangas that I missed. As you can see, it's really difficult. And like I said, I'm not ready to do that, so... So, as far as I'm concerned, this is where the playthrough ends. So, a nice short, almost 2-hour video. I hope you guys enjoyed, though, so... Oh, boy. Yeah, if you liked the video, drop a like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, do it all, ring the bell, do all that fun stuff, because it helps out the channel. Recommend the video to a friend also helps. You can follow me on Twitter at GavinDragonYT. You can donate to the PayPal link in the description, also on your screen. Yeah. I've also got a Discord down in the description as well as a Telegram art group, and there's stuff to click on once the video gets done processing. All that being said, I am really out of it today, and I have been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty. Good night, everybody.